Hey everyone, my name is Tim Beauregard, and I'm a computer programmer by day and a woodworking and home improvement enthusiast in the evenings. Got lots and lots of hobbies, and I'm always trying to learn things. I started on my teardrop camper probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I bought the frame from a dealer, and then I built the floor, and life got in the way, so I put it aside for about 6 years. And then last year, I finally started working on it again. I built up the walls, I built the galley, and I started working on the interior. This year, I have pretty much finished the interior except the wiring, and I've finished the galley. And I will finish the wiring this year and the insulation. And then probably next year, I'll do the siding. I want to do one of the wood strip ones like Randall White did. I've never done that before, so it's going to take me time. I'm going to practice on something so I get the technique down before I commit to doing it on the teardrop. This cell phone doesn't have the ability to switch from forward to back, so I'm doing a strange little thing, and I'm just going to rotate the phone and now show you where I am with starting with the galley. So here's my galley. I designed it around all the things that I thought that I would be taking with me on a camping trip. So we've got different doors for different things, like water-based things here. In here, we've got the camp stove. We've got glasses, stuff like that. Plates in here. First aid kit and other things like flashlights and torches that are going to be used around a campsite. And then in the last one, we've got pots and pans and cutting boards. I like corks. I like working with corks. So when I designed this, it was built like a wine cork trivet. My uncle had made them for years, and then when I saw them, I said, hey, I can do that, and I can do it better. So I've been doing wine cork trivets for many, many years now. In the electrical area, I filled in with corks, and I have two outlets, one left passenger and one driver's side, and each of them have a USB charging port. Down below, I've got a microwave and I've got an ice chest, or a cooler rather, and they're both on uh, those slow mechanisms to pull the drawers back in. The utensil drawer, I haven't filled it up yet, but I have all the stuff that I want to put in here. And it's also on a slow close. And then in here, I have a storage thing for putting grill gas. I can put 3 bottles in here. I haven't finished the flooring yet over here. The microwave has a wire that runs through the back wall, and it goes up into the wiring area that I'm working on right now. I've got one of those WFCO AC DC converters that Jay really talks about and likes. So I'm working on that wiring right now. I just built this L-shaped box frame today and tidied up my wires. I've got one wire here and one wire on the other side that'll go into 2 circuits. And then the orange wire here is the 10 amp coming in off the shore power connector. Since I haven't done my siding yet, I just temporarily hooked up the shore power connector, and I will run that through a 30 amp 25-foot power cord, and I've got one of those adapters that Jay talks about so I can adapt it to household current to test everything out. For now, in order to do my testing, I made this little male-to-male household plug, and what I do is I just pop it in one of my receptacles here and then run the other to an extension cord to a house outlet, and that'll power up the receptacle and anything else attached to that receptacle, which in this case is the microwave. So I've tested out all my wiring to make sure everything works, and it's all wired in parallel. And again, this is just a temporary little dummy thing until I've wired in the WFCO box. Over here, I'm going to run my DC wires up and behind this television and up across the roof. I've got a fantastic fan, and I built a shelf here over the headboard, and I wired in 2 sconces here. This plate is fixed, but it's with screws, so I can remove it if I ever want to get to the wires. And these are touch-sensitive buttons to turn on the sconces, and each sconce has on the other side a USB charging port. So at night I can plug in my cell phone and just run a little wire over to here and charge up the cell phone. The sconces pivot and they rotate. And just these 2 sconces alone light up the cabin really nicely. So that's the only lighting that I'm going to use inside of the teardrop. And over here on this side, for fun and entertainment on rainy days, I have a television that'll run DVDs. It's built in the side. I wired it up on the upper left, just below the ceiling. And I also have a device that I can plug in there that I can cast from my phone to the device. So I can download things like Netflix or Hulu videos and then cast them from my tablet or phone to that little device and play it on the TV. To the right and left of the television are whiteboards that I built into the framing that makes the back of the galley cabinets. And this is just for artistic fun, or making notes of things that I forgot on my camping trip that I need to remember for the next time. I don't camp a lot. I haven't camped a lot, so I'm not fully prepared, but being a computer programmer, I can make spreadsheets really easily and keep track of everything, but you just never know when you're on the road and you don't have a laptop with you or a spreadsheet. So in this case, I can write things down on my whiteboards. They're also magnetic, so I can put little notes on there that'll stick with a magnet. The TV will come down off of the, it's just hanging on a rail. It'll come down for travel mode. Right now we're set up in camping mode. And down on the floor, I've got a 6-inch folding mattress that I bought from Amazon. And I will fold that up for travel mode. And then on the floor, I can put things like a pop-up canopy, a 4-foot table, plastic. I can put chairs in here, umbrellas, anything once that mattress is folded up into travel mode. These little strips right here are temporary ledges on which my box currently sits. I haven't screwed it in yet because I'm still working on wiring everything, and I haven't attached the panels yet in polyurethane, so I haven't fully screwed that into the interior. So it's just sitting there on ledges, and the ledges are clamped to the side of the camper. Tomorrow I'm going to make little boxes that'll wedge down between the mattress and the wall rather than this precariously perched ledge. I didn't build the frame like I mentioned. I bought the frame, but I built it from the I can't remember the name of that website. The site that has teardrops on it. Everybody goes to it. It's not a Facebook site. Tiny trailers and teardrops, and this is the Benroy plan. But of course, I'm doing it to my own. I'm using the layout for the Benroy, but I'm making it my own. So I added all the spars. Everything is glued and pocket screwed together. I've got it up on stands. I still have to make a tongue box. I still have to drill for my wiring and put my insulation in. And then that'll be this year. And then next year, I'm going to run wood strips and do fiberglass and epoxy. I added some extra blocking above the wheels so that I have some solid wood to bolt the fenders in later on. The bolts that hold the walls are glued in place, but they're also bolted all the way down through the frame. And I drilled some holes here, and I snugged up some nuts, 2 nuts on top, and there's also red thread locking compound in those. And there's 3 places on each wall where it's bolted through the frame. 6 years ago, when I built the floor, I did some overkill, and everywhere there's a metal cross member, I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. I started off with Forstner holes and then drilled through holes all the way down through the metal frame, and then bolted from the bottom and secured everything well with red thread locking compound, and that left a little well here that I didn't like. And I did this on every cross member, so there's 6 times 5 or 6 cross members. That's a lot of holes to drill through. It's probably overkill, but I don't want to be going down the road and have this thing just fly off the frame. But anyway, it left a little well, and what I did was I bought some of that syringe type epoxy, and I squirted epoxy in every one of these holes, so all of the nuts not only are in there with thread locker, but they're all in there permanently with epoxy holding them in place. And then once all that's set, I used an angle grinder and just ground all that down flush. That's pretty much it. Oh, I got my hurricane hinge. I'm still playing with the hatch. I've actually built the hatch. This is the second hatch that I've done because I made some mismeasurements and I had to cut it all over again. But I'm not really sure how this hatch goes in with this 3/8 inch notch on the Benroy plan. And this is the hurricane hinge that I have. A lot of you have seen this hurricane hinge. I'm just not sure this is the right hinge, but I bought a 6-foot one because my camper is a little more than 5 feet. And I've already cut off this piece, so I've turned it into a 5.5-foot hurricane hinge. And I probably can't return it. So I might, if this is made to be with a flush mounting between the camper and the hatch, then what I'm probably going to do is take some thin strips and glue and brad nail them back in here to build it back up to the height. But because they're thin strips, I'll be able to follow the profile and build it back up as if I never cut it off. But again, I'm a novice at this. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I've got the wrong hinge. I'll do some research before I do all this. But if anybody knows, go ahead and leave me a comment. All right, nice talking with you. I hope you like my camper. Again, going to be done in 2022. It's very cozy inside, and I'm looking forward to using it, but I'm never in a hurry to do anything. Oh, by the way, my last name being Beauregard, somebody said, what are you going to name the camper? And I said, I really have no idea. So I had a naming contest between friends and family, and the name that stuck the best was Sham-Beau-La, like the Tibetan Buddhist utopia Shambhala, but using B-E-A-U of my last name, Sham-Beau-La. And I think this is going to be a nice little campground utopia. Talk to you later.